Hi, I'm James Ali Bashir, and you're watching BWTM Live.
We are back again, round 2, BWTM Sports, with the trainer of Joseph Parker, the WBO heavyweight champion of the world, by the way. Let's not forget that. His trainer, Kevin Barry. Kevin, welcome back again.
Mr. Jones, it's always a pleasure.
Round 2.
Round 2? Gosh, it's only a couple of days ago that we were doing round 1.
Absolutely.
You must really like talking to me.
I like talking to you. The comments I got on YouTube were quite interesting. It considered you being a lawyer.
Okay.
Said I had you wrapped up around my finger, and some of the questions I asked you didn't have an answer to what I had to say. So we're back again. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you how you're going to go about beating Joshua, because you're not going to tell me, right?
No, but I'll tell you what, it's a very big job. You know, it's a very difficult achievement. It will be. You know, there's a lot of work that's got to go into this fight. In fact, for this fight, I think Joseph Parker needs to have a career-defining fight. I think we saw Anthony Joshua against Klitschko have a, to date, career-defining fight where he found out a lot about himself. You know, he was able to pick himself up off the ground. He went to a very dark place for a while. He was exhausted a couple of rounds, and yet he was able to come back with a, you know, fight of the year performance. You know, it was a career-defining fight. Joseph Parker hasn't had a career-defining fight. This fight against Anthony Joshua on March 31 needs to be a career-defining fight.
So you go from here, you go back to Vegas. That's the game plan, right? And you obviously will look for sparring partners. Do you have guys in mind?
No, we have people in place. You know, we don't look for sparring partners. You know, this camp begins on Thursday. Our camp's in place.
So it's all sorted. You've got your sparring partners already?
Yes.
Does that mean you can tell me who those sparring partners?
No, of course not. I never do.
I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no.
Let's say if you don't know, I'm not going to ask you.
Good question.
Okay, fair enough. What sort of sparring partners do you think you're going to need for someone like Joshua?
Oh, you know, Joshua's a very big, strong, powerful guy. Look, he's a lot bigger than Joseph Parker. Possibly stronger than Joseph Parker. We know that he's a lot taller. He's got quite a long reach. He'll have a big reach advantage on Joe. You know, Joe at his 6'4" has a very short wingspan. But Joseph Parker has very fast hands. He has very good footwork. Joseph Parker, I believe, has a better punch selection than Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker is more durable, I believe, than Anthony Joshua. So, you know, we have, like, you know, Joshua is a very, very good fighter. You don't become, you know, Olympic gold medalist without being a good fighter. He's knocked out everybody that he's fought, which obviously means that there is a lot of pressure on Anthony Joshua in this fight. There is huge expectation from the fans and the boxing supporters for him to knock Joseph Parker out, a man who has never been on the canvas in his amateur career, has never been on the canvas in his professional career, and has never been on the canvas in hundreds and hundreds of rounds of sparring. So there's a lot of pressure on Anthony Joshua to deliver in this fight.
We talk about the durability of Joseph Parker. We always talk about the durability. But apart from durability, if you can't get past the jab,
then we're in trouble.
Then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So no matter how good your chin is, you're just going to end up.
Yeah, that's basic. You know, like we know. I just said, look, you know, we know Joshua has very long reach. Now, if we let Joshua touch Joe up with the jab, it's going to be a very hard and difficult night. Okay, it's as simple as that.
So you can have good head movement. You have to have good footwork, fight high tempo, put the man back, and force him to fight.
Well, you know, obviously when you've got a big, strong, powerful guy like that coming forward all the time, you know, you need to be busy and you need to throw a lot of punches to stop him coming forward.
You're a trainer, you have to devise the game plan. The game plan you have in your mind, the vision you have in your mind, every trainer does have one. how far away is Joseph, or how close is he to being what you want him to be? Like, in terms of, he is here now, Joseph Parker, March 31st. How much tools does Joseph have now to his disposal to be ready for March the 31st?
He has, look, Joe already has the skill level and the tools to put a very complete performance together. I've seen glimpses of it in the gym. I don't believe I've ever seen his best work in a fight. And that's why I said before, this needs to be the fight. This needs to be the one where he actually shows all his tools. And he shows the boxing world exactly what Joseph Parker is all about.
Some could say that he's had more difficult fights than Joshua on the way up. You know, he's fought Ruiz, he's fought Hugh Fury, Dimitrenko,
Carlos Takam.
So he's had harder fights coming up. Do you think that prepares Parker better for this big fight?
Well, look, I believe that Joe's resume is, I've always said that Joe's resume is better than Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Does it prepare him for this fight? Yes, it probably does. It helps prepare him. But let's remember, you know, I believe Anthony Joshua grew a lot from the Klitschko fight. You know, it was a fight that he improved a lot from. But you know, that's what makes this such an exciting fight. Two young, undefeated heavyweight world champions fighting each other and putting it all on the line. This is exciting. This doesn't get any more exciting than this. The boxing world needs this. The heavyweight division needs this fight. The winner of this fight will be in a very good position.
Absolutely. If Parker gets himself in a position as like Dillian White and as Klitschko, when you close the show,
I can promise you this. When Joseph hits Anthony Joshua and Anthony does a little dance, Joseph Parker will get him out of there. Joseph Parker is a very, very good finisher. If he gets his man hurt, he's going to get him out of there. There's no mistaking that. You know, of course, the task is going to be to get him hurt.
And that's what you have to do.
Well, I don't have to get anyone hurt.
Well, you've got to put the game plan together for it to happen, of course. But obviously, yeah.
I might hurt you.
Help! So, let's talk a little bit more. Joshua talked, or his team have talked about not shaking hands, and he said, you're going to get a fish, Joshua, when you come to London. How do you feel about that?
I don't really feel anything about it. You know, it's like, you know, we're here to conduct ourselves as professionals. You know, I have a lot of respect for Anthony and his team, and for Eddie Hearn, and you know, and I think Eddie's done a tremendous job. You know, in his part of the negotiations. There's no reason for us to be disrespectful. You know, if he chooses not to shake hands, he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. But you know, we're there to shake his hand, wish him all the best, thank him for the opportunity, and may the best man win.
Is there any way that Joshua could put it on Parker in a way to sort of intimidate him? Because look, you're in my backyard, like he kind of did with Brazil. And I said, yo, Joseph.
Believe me, Joseph Parker is not Dominic Brazil.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you said that. Why? You've got to educate the fans, not me.
Joseph Parker's got a totally different temperament. You know, Joseph doesn't fear too many things. He doesn't let too many things get under his skin.
That's what Brazil said. Brazil said he's trouble. He said he was trouble, and Joshua turned to him and said to him, you know, you're not about that life. He turned to me and he looked at that point that he just crumbled. How do you know your guy won't crumble when Joshua turns to him?
Because I know my guy.
What is it like your guy that's not going to crumble?
He's, look, you know, out of every fighter I've ever worked with, Joseph Parker controls his emotions better than anyone I've ever seen. He will not be rattled by somebody getting in his face.
So
he will not be rattled by words. He will not be rattled by threats. He will not be rattled by somebody not wanting to shake his hand.
And you won't be rattled by Joshua coming up in his face and really...
I can look, you know, I know Eddie Hearn's made some statements about, wait and see how they are when they're in front of 80,000 people at the stadium in Cardiff. You know, I can promise you and I can promise the boxing fans this, that the 3 hours before the fight, when Joe and his team and myself are in the dressing room, Joe will be singing and laughing and dancing like he always does before every fight. When we walk into the stadium, he'll have a great big smile on his face. He'll keep that smile all the way, the long walk to the ring, and then when we get into the ring and the bell goes, the business will begin.
Tyson Fury, the New Year champion, Ring Magazine champion, the man that broke the deadlock. He was the man that allowed everything to be as it is today.
And we pay a lot of people to be very, very thankful for Tyson Fury.
Absolutely.
He made all this possible.
He did.
He brought the excitement back to the heavyweight division.
So we can say thanks to Tyson Fury, not Al Heyman. For once, thanks to Tyson Fury, not Al Heyman.
And Al Heyman?
No, not Al Heyman. Not Al Heyman.
Look, you know, we have huge respect for Tyson. We're big Tyson Fury fans. He's been very supportive to Joe and our team. In fact, you know, even with the fight against Huey, the whole Fury family have actually been very, very classy. And you know, we were so excited, you know, to see Tyson back in the gym, because I think the boxing world needs Tyson Fury. He is very charismatic. He is a character. He is also a very, very skillful fighter. And you only have to go back and look at the Klitschko fight. He made Vlad look very, very ordinary. A man who had been undefeated for 10 years, who had been very dominant. He made him look like a schoolboy. So, you know, Tyson is a very, very special fighter, and a fighter that is going to be very difficult for any of the champions. Now,
you can't talk about your guy, but you can certainly talk about Lucas Brown's fight coming up against Dillian Whyte. Tell us how you see that fight going.
I think it's a great fight. I think it's a very fan-friendly fight. Two guys who aren't the fastest, but two guys who like to throw down. Both guys hit very hard. Both guys aren't going to get up on their toes and dance around. They're going to come together. They're going to hit each other with a lot of bombs. Both guys are relatively easy to hit. It's going to be an exciting fight while it lasts, but that fight ends in a knockout for sure.
Do you know who you're going for at the moment, or are you going to hedge your bets?
Hey, I'm rooting for Lucas Brown. You know, it's my boy from Australia. You know, I want to see him win. You know, we've got to go with our brothers from down under. You know, I think, I think does he have the ability to knock Dillian Whyte out? Yes, he does. Very heavy-handed guy. Very heavy. And if Dillian starts swinging and getting wild, Lucas Brown could knock him out. It's a good fight. It's an exciting fight. It's a fight that should be put together. I'll tell you what, I was very, very interested when initially when there was a lot of banter about Dillian Whyte fighting Huey Fury, because as soon as I heard that fight was going to be made, I went, my God, Dillian won't lay a glove on him. Huey will box the ears off him for as many rounds as he likes. And very, very shortly afterwards, they stopped talking about Huey Fury. Yeah.
Not surprised.
People don't want to fight Huey Fury.
No, they don't.
Okay, and that young man, his day will come. It didn't come against Joseph Parker. You know, you can't win. You know, you can't take a world title when you spend the whole fight moving backwards. But you know, he's a fighter that will develop and improve a lot from that fight. He's very young, and you know, no doubt that sometime in the future he'll probably wear one of the heavyweight belts. He's going to be a handful for anyone he fights.
Absolutely.
And that's why you don't see a lot of people putting their hand up and say, pick me, Huey.
Not Lucas Brown. Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, has a defense against Luis Ortiz.
Interesting fight.
Is he 48, 49 or 50, Luis Ortiz?
Somebody told me he was 65.
He's gone. What do you think of the fight itself?
Look, I think it's it would have been a better fight a couple of years ago. I think Deontay now is like, you know, he's been a champion for a long time. You know, they really took their time building and developing him. He's a very heavy-handed fighter, a very awkward fighter, punches off crazy angles. But you know, he sometimes leaves himself a little exposed and a little open. And one thing we know about Ortiz, is very, very experienced, has a huge pedigree in the amateurs. It's an interesting fight, but somehow I think there'll be some rocky moments early, but I think the way Ortiz has looked in his last couple of fights, Deontay will have his way with him.
Great, fantastic. In terms of fights you're looking forward to in the future, are there any other fights you've thought of apart from your guys fighting Joshua?
Let me think. Oh, there's some very, I think right at the moment, a lot of the divisions are really hot. The welterweight division is a very good division at the moment.
Jeff Horn?
I think, Jeff Horn's really going to be
up against it
with Crawford. One thing about Terence Crawford, he's a very special fighter, and I think he could be, the pound-for-pound guy in the future. There's no doubt about it. He's very special. I think the cruiserweight division, for the first time ever, has huge excitement in it. Yeah. And that's why it's so good to see them put that series together at the moment. All the good guys fight each other. So, I can see maybe 3 or 4 of those guys stepping into the heavyweight ranks, in 12 to 24 months.
Exactly.
So there's, which makes things exciting.
Go back to Wilder for a second. Do you think you, as a trainer, would have wanted the time Wilder's had as champion for your own guy, Joseph Parker?
Oh gosh, I would have loved to been able to have the time developing Joe that was given to Deontay. They spent 6 years really before they fought anyone. Joe's been getting pay-per-view cards since his 5th fight. Yeah. We threw Joe and we put him on a very accelerated learning curve. And this was, there was a lot of money put behind him early, and we. 2014, 15 and 16, we fought them 5 times a year against all international guys, against guys with good experience. We had a lot of assistance from Stu Duncan, our matchmaker in Australia, who did a very good job in selecting a lot of opponents. What we were trying to do was we were trying to give Joe a little bit of everything to make him more complete. And every time we gave him a challenge, he stepped up to that challenge. And that's why we always thought he had the ability to become world champion. And, now we're going to find out if he has the ability to become 3-belt world champion.
What does that mean if he becomes 3-belt champion?
It'll be pretty damn special. No, I tell you what, when we beat Anthony Joshua on March 31, we'll give him a rematch that we have in the contract.
Oh, so there's a rematch clause?
Yes, there is.
Rematch clause. Nice. Any reason why? Did you ask for that, or did he ask for that?
No, of course they asked for it. Why do you think they asked for it? Because there's a very good chance that Joseph Parker will knock him out.
So he's the champion. I don't want to be the one,
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Kevin, one final thing I want to ask you, talk to you about. I know you don't talk much about it, but you were the man that eliminated the field. So when you're sitting here talking, there's some people down the camera goes, who's that Kevin Bay? He's got a book to say for himself, that geezer. You have got somebody to say for yourself, and there's a reason why. You want to box for yourself.
Yeah, I boxed for 16 years. I won the Commonwealth title in the Ulster Hall in Belfast in 1983. I won a number of international tournaments around the world, and I won 4 fights at the LA Olympics in 1984.
And Evander Holyfield was the guy that you faced?
Well, he was, Evander and I have a little bit of, we have a special bond. He got disqualified for hitting me late in the semi-final fight, and it sort of, at the time, ruined his career, but it actually made his career because it's the spotlight that he got from that. He was the first of the American medalists to win a world title after the Olympics, and it skyrocketed his professional career.
So what about yourself? Did you
never fought professionally? No, I retired after the Olympics.
Why was that?
Oh, just my dad had always expressed to me growing up that professional boxing wasn't a big deal in New Zealand, and he said, "Oh, it's a mug's game, son. You're going to become a lawyer." And see, there was a lawyer on there, and I said, "Oh, really?"
Tell him that.
I said, "Really, Dad?" And so my dad was actually the Olympic coach for New Zealand. And I shared a story tonight when they asked me about going back to when I had David Turk for 12 years, and of course the fight with Lennox Lewis was a fight that we just, Lennox was the best, most skillful heavyweight around at the time, and Dave just couldn't get the job done. It was a little overawed. And I promised my dad before he passed that I'd train a fighter to win the world heavyweight title. And when Joe won the title against Andy Ruiz, that was a very special moment for me. And I had my son who's worked for me, Taylor, for the last 3 years. He trains Joe with me. I had him in the corner, and my younger brother Brian, who works with my corner team as well. And so for our family, it was a big special occasion.
As a trainer, I've got to ask you, as a trainer, do you ever feel that you've hit a ceiling and you can't go any further, or do you and feel that you need other pair of eyes to come in, or are you confident in your own abilities to get the job done going forward?
No, I tell you what, I believe that I try and learn something every day, and if you aren't continually trying to better yourself and learn new skills, then you can't move on. I also listen to everyone. That doesn't mean that I take the advice of everyone, but I'm not one of these stubborn guys that it's my way or the highway. If someone says to me, "Have you tried this? Have you thought about this?" I'll sit down and I'll talk to them and I'll give it some thought, and I like ideas. I'm an ideas guy.